President Trump announcing a deadly strike against the Tren de Aragua gang in the first publicly known operation against the cartel since deploying warships to the Caribbean. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said that 11 terrorists were killed on international waters. The boat was carrying drugs in the Caribbean. No U.S. personnel was injured during this operation.
Trump also releasing this video showing the boat allegedly carrying the gang members. Secretary of State Marco Rubio had this to say to reporters on the attack.
Suffice it to say that the president is going to be on offense against drug cartels and drug trafficking in the United States. It destabilizes not just the country, but the entire Caribbean basin. These particular drugs were probably headed to Trinidad or some other country in the Caribbean, at which point they just contribute to the instability these countries are facing. So the president's been very clear that he's going to use the full power of America and the full might of the United States to take on and eradicate these drug cartels, no matter where they're operating from and no matter how long they've been able to act with impunity. Those days are over.
The White House did not say how the Navy was able to determine that the people on board were Tren de Aragua members or how much drugs was on the boat. It's also unknown why deadly force was used in this operation instead of stopping the vessel and apprehending those on board.
Well, I have a lot of questions here. Probably some of them are questions you yourself have. First, look, there's a legitimacy, obviously, toward apprehending people operating in the illegal drug business. This was in open waters, so it's not violating the sovereignty of some other country. We didn't go into Mexico and fight them. That's all fine. Now, killing rather than apprehending is a choice that, again, raises a question mark for me. Maybe not necessarily off the table, but certainly we can't provide a subsequent due process to people we've just killed. Usually you don't do that unless it's necessary or they're firing back, particularly with this level of foreknowledge. It's not like it was caught in some sudden exchange of gunfire where they had no choice. Further, all the drugs weren't headed here.
No.
The drugs were headed somewhere else.
Apparently.
So then,
what are we doing?
What's the deal here?
Right. No,
I don't know. I don't want to ask. This seems like war on terror type stuff.
Yeah.
The war on drugs has not gone any better than the war on terror.
Right.
I would say, in part because, and in fact, this is the kind of black market effect at work. The more you do this kind of thing, unless we can kill all the drug dealers, which we've been trying to do for 40 years and have not succeeded at, you just make the surviving drug dealers and the product they have more valuable, and thus they continue doing what they're doing. 40 years of this has not produced the desired outcome. Yeah. It's not for lack of trying or lack of killing or lack of arresting, which makes me actually think a different strategy might be employed. But furthermore, they weren't even headed here, so I don't know, man.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Well, I broadly agree with pretty much all of that. The war on drugs I'm incredibly skeptical of. I think it has been largely counterproductive. Certainly hasn't succeeded in any measure at all. I mean, the reason that there is a drugs problem is A, there's a demand for drugs, and B, the illegality of those drugs creates a certain premium, not to put too fine a point on it, for how people get them. And it also creates the situation where, relatively less harmful drugs are often sold by the same people who are selling much more harmful drugs. So there is a gateway argument there. But look, in this case, the US has attacked a vessel, apparently killing everyone on board. And it's a kind of trust me bro justification, right? It's the idea that, these guys were Tren de Aragua, they were smuggling drugs, they are therefore terrible people, and we are therefore justified in preemptorily killing them.
Right. And even if all that's true, I'm not sure it's something we should do.
I agree.
Because Marco Rubio is saying the harm that we're trying to prevent is that their actions are contributing to instability in Trinidad or somewhere like that. Well, is that
our responsibility?
Is that our business? Well, now this is talking about national security. At that point, if that's really the case you're making, then I'm going to go back to a well that I know the Trump administration doesn't love, or no administration loves, frankly, which is, Congress needs to declare war on Tren de Aragua or add them to some kind of, this gets into terrorist authorization.
Right.
I think our wars against terror in the Middle East need renewed authorization, frankly. When Congress voted on it, 25 years ago, that it's not They didn't even have these specific groups in mind. ISIS didn't even exist yet.
Right.
Which that's a legitimate thing to do, but we got to do it properly, and it's got to be approved by Congress so that we can hold accountable the people who vote for it. For the State Department to just say, yeah, we're killing people of this nature. Again, I would want more of a justification. It wasn't even headed here. And this kind of thing, this strategy has been tried. The tough guy will just kill all the drug dealers strategy. I'm sorry, that's like a simpleton approach to this problem at this point. We've been doing this for years and years and years. It's not lack of killing. It's not lack of, it's the problem that people want drugs.
Right.
And you can't kill a human impulse to engage in behavior that's not good for you.
Right.
We should try to get help to people who are addicted to illegal drugs. Now, I understand that some of these synthetic opiates and things of the fentanyl is a different kind of problem than some of the drug issues been dealt with in the past. It's more akin to poisoning, really, than drug overdose, because in a lot of cases people aren't taking fentanyl on purpose. They're taking something else, just like they're taking a defective product on the market. That would speak toward having a more, again, making it less illegal, so that you could then have some kind of FDA-style regulation of it would actually help, I would argue, in many of these cases. And people who are against the drug war have been making these arguments, again, for decades. So there's nothing new here.
No, there isn't. In relation to Tren de Aragua, Trump, of course, does contend that it's a terrorist group and that therefore certain actions are justified. But this gets to another point where I think we perhaps have common ground, which is the increase in tensions with Venezuela itself. The US now has various Navy ships just outside Venezuelan waters. Nicolas Maduro is unhappy about that. This is not to defend Maduro, but he believes that the US is trying to topple him or steal Venezuela's wealth in terms of oil and gas. There is a danger there of an escalatory cycle, and this kind of thing, I think, plays into that in a way that doesn't really do anybody any good and is part of this war on drugs, which has always proven futile in the past.
Yeah, that one's complicated because I think the fall of Nicolas Maduro would be a good thing for the people of Venezuela. I don't want the U.S. to be involved in that or bring about that outcome if the people rise up and choose freedom and democracy. That would be good. I don't want to seize their oil. I want to do deals with them. I think the U.S. should purchase oil from Venezuela. I think that would be a great antidote to our problems in the Middle East, is to do business with someone closer to home. This regime is difficult. And if the Maduro regime moves toward more friendly relations with the U.S. and doesn't have to be toppled, that'd be great too. We should, do diplomacy with them. But Maduro is a pretty reprehensible figure. But we shouldn't just go around, wiping people off the face of the earth because we don't like them.
I think we can agree on that point at least.
All right, some agreement there. That's good. Next up, Stephen A. Smith says he's not ruling out a 2028 presidential run and is launching a new show. We'll be right back after this.